A Jmix exclusive.
Hello all, it's Jmix here with TupacNation.net. And this upload is part 4 and my final installment of the top 20 Tupac quotes of 2013. This is where I've amassed all my favorite clips and quotes from all the artists that I've interviewed over the last year. And rounding out our top 5 is Lance Pierre on Was Tupac Unhappy at Death Row. So Tupac was pretty unhappy at death row.
At a certain point, yes.
Towards the end of his life?
I'll say, yeah, towards the end of the Machiavelli thing, and I'm going to tell you why I think he was unhappy. Because during the making of Machiavelli, myself and the Pro Tools editor who was working with us here in Burbank, and the studio is was really a post-production studio, not necessarily dealing with music, but television. And so, but Tupac shows up I think he was doing, if it's not Gridlock, he was doing some other movie. And he walks in and he says, "Lance, let me hear it." It was him and Edie. And so I push play, and he says, "Put it on the big boys," because at Can-Am, at Track Record or whatever, that's what we did. We put them on the big subs, and oh my gosh, everybody's heart fell to the floor. You could feel the bass kicking you in the stomach, chest, all that. And all the studio had was let's say like a 12-inch little woofer, and Tupac looked at me and said, "Man, is that how my shit gonna sound?" And I'm like, "Nah, man," because he's ready to kick a hole in the wall. I told the guy, "Nah, man, this is a post-production facility. Look, they kicked us out of Can-Am 6 o'clock this morning. This is the best that Kevin Lewis could do for us." Okay, I said, "But, you know, your music is not going to sound like that." He picks up the phone. He calls the office, Death Row. And these were some of the words, not word for words, that came out of his mouth. He said Snoop was corny. He was taking too much time doing a record. He'd take all day doing one song. He says, "I'm paying Nate Dogg's child support. Rage, y'all kick my engineers out the studio so that Rage can continue working on a record that she's been working on for 2 years. That's pretty fucked up." Okay? And at that point, that's when I knew, oh, wow, this guy is not happy. And so when the question is, do you think he was happy? Well, I think he wasn't that happy because he stated that I am paying for this. Why are my engineers having to suffer? Why are you guys kicking them out the studio when my record is is the #1 record on Billboard? Stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's where that question comes in. Was he really happy? I don't know. I do know whether he was happy or not, he was making moves, and you saw the signs. He was making moves to start doing his own thing. You know, he would always have his girlfriend at the time, Dada, who was Quincy Jones's daughter. She would be there, and her promotional people, and they'd always be chopping it up and doing, I guess, talking about branding business or whatever. But he was definitely making his move towards doing his own stuff, handling his, making his own records, putting out his own artists, because somewhere along the line, like I said, stuff was being revealed. He started learning the truth about whatever the situation was around there. And, you know, the guy was going to leave and go about his way. I don't know if he would have left furious or if he would have left saying, okay, everything is good, hugs, let's chop it up a little later. I got to go do my own thing. You continue doing yours. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's how the situation was, because that's not how it turned out. You know, destiny is destiny.
Did Tupac really try to take his masters?
He did, yeah. Yeah, he did. He did, but, you know, legally, even Machiavelli belonged to Suge Knight, so, you know, it is what it is.
Third time Lance has appeared on the countdown. Shout out to Lance Pierre and thank everybody that listened to that interview. Clip number 4 is Ronnie King on Negativity at Death Row Records. Did you ever experience negativity while working in that environment?
I wouldn't say negativity is the word, but that scene had a lot of negativity around it. So for me, it was just kind of business as usual. Like I say, I think for me, I was pretty well protected because I had Jerry Heller as a manager at the time. And, you know, he was pretty notorious himself. And so I kind of, you know, I think if you had the right stamp on you, it was a great place to work. I think, you know, if you came in and you didn't really have your shit together, you probably didn't have such a great time. You know what I mean? If you were being productive and making things happen, awesome. But, you know, you have to remember, too, Tupac used to put a lot of people on his track. So there would always be a lot of people. And, you know, time, you didn't have time to mess around, basically. Some guys may have rapped on a track, but it didn't make the cut. So if that was the unfriendly part of it, that probably would be it, you know.
Special shout out to Ronnie King. Very positive brother, very kind man, very great interview. And once again hitting our countdown is Kurt Cobain. And coming in at clip number 3 is Kurt Cobain talking about the Lakewood Mall incident. Kurt, did you ever hear about a Lakewood Mall incident where Trevon Lane had a death row medallion snatched away from him at any time before Tupac passed?
Nah, it never was common talk, or, you know, it was never brought up. I knew Trey, you know what I'm saying, so it wasn't nothing that I can actually remember hearing about. You know, he got his chain snatched at the Lakewood Mall. I don't never remember not seeing him with his chain, put it like that. To the point where I would say, why he ain't got his chain on tonight or whatever. It was never no situation like that. I would have known about that situation, because that would have been more. Yeah, I would have known about it, because that would have been more reason for me, Danny Boy, and us, our little clique, not to be doing some of the things we were doing. Like we would leave the camp and the whole area and go to Crenshaw to a fast food restaurant or something. You know, that would have been more reason to be like, dude, we can't be out here like this.
Once again, shout out to Kurt Cobain. It was an explosive interview, and that's the big homie. Coming in at clip number 2 is Danny Boy on Singing for Tupac while in the hospital. I had spoken to Machiavelli producer Kurt Cobain, who actually speaks really fond of you.
Right on, Kurt. Thank you. I appreciate that.
He had stated in the hospital that you sang a Sam Cooke song called A Change Gonna Come for Tupac. Is that true?
Yep, it is. I went in the back, and his mother asked me to sing for him. And I stood over him, and that was one of his favorite songs, and I stood there and sung that, and a tear rolled out of his eye into his ear.
And that was while he was in a coma, right?
Yes, it was.
Much love to Danny Boy. And rounding out the top 20 quotes of 2013 is Frank Alexander on being too sexy for some sleeves.
Okay, in closing, Frank, and don't get mad at me. Are you still too sexy for some sleeves, Frankie?
It's so hard about that, man. You know what it was just to deal with that. It was August. I just finished competing in the Mr. World Bodybuilding Contest. And I was 235, 230 something on stage. And by the time I got with Tupac 30 days later, which was September, I was 270, 265. And there was like a lot of shirts to do with it. Plus, it was summertime. You know, August, September is hot. And the style kind of was the sleeveless shirts. And I just wore a lot of shirts with their damn sleeves on. Everybody used to tease me about that with sleeves on. And that's where that Frankie century message sleeves.
Rest in peace, Frank. Once again, this is Jmix here, and I want to thank all my YouTube subs and viewers. Thank you for supporting me during 2013. Let's make 2014 a great year. Hope to see everybody at TupacNation.net. And one love, everybody.
A Jmix exclusive.
What up, shut up?